Hello, this is Steven, and today I'm coming to you with a brand new series that I'm going to be introducing to my channel, and that is going to be doing content for Star Wars X-Wings miniatures. So if you've noticed, every video that I've done up to this point has been something to do with Magic the Gathering, but this is called Steven's Gaming Channel, and I do in fact play other games besides Magic the Gathering. One of the games that I actually have been playing more of than Magic the Gathering in the past year has been Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures, which is a game that I've just really enjoyed. I've really gotten into this game. It's basically just everything that I want in a game, and so I just have been dying to do some content on this, and I never really knew what the first sort of video that I wanted to do was, but recently this list is inspired by Gerry Russell, who came in 4th place at 2017 Worlds, and it's a Rebel list, which I am always drawn to because I mostly fly Rebels, and it plays Biggs Darklighter, who is just sort of a favorite of mine, and it also plays 3 ships that to my knowledge, have been basically kind of completely looked over since coming out in their respective waves, and that is the ARC 170, the TIE Fighter from Wave 10, and the T-70 X-Wing that isn't just Poe with BB-8 or Poe with R2-D2. So the very first ship that I'm going to be talking about is the ARC 170, and this is basically the way that Gerry Russell ran it. It's a more offensive-oriented stress hog, and basically what that means is it's a ship that runs R3A2, and I'll show you the cards in a little bit more detail. And R3A2 allows you to, when you attack, put stress on the opponent, and so how we are able to not just use that stress to our advantage, but use his ability to our advantage. After you execute a maneuver, you may roll an attack die, and then on a hit or a crit result, remove 1 stress token from your ship. So after you maneuver, you do all of your R3A2 shenanigans, and then you now have, after you perform a green maneuver, you now get to roll an attack dice, and then you have a 50% chance to clear a second stress that you will have on your ship. And why would you have 2 stresses on your ship? Well, you play the crew card, and I should go back to the ARC 170, talk about some of its stats. It has 2 attack, 1 agility, 6 hull, 3 shield. It has a focus and target lock for its action, and its pilot skill is 3, meaning it will be moving first and attacking last most often. All right, so back to the crew. The ARC 170 is unique in the Rebels and just any of the ships that it allows you to play an astromech and a crew. And so one of the unique combos that you get to run with that is the crew gunner, which after you perform an attack that does not hit, you may immediately perform a primary weapon attack. You cannot perform another attack this round. So how we are able to get a really cool combo going is with R3A2 and gunner. When you do your first attack, you put a stress on them. And then if they want to spend any focus or evade tokens to mitigate the damage from that attack, now you get to attack a second time, and because of how R3A2 is worded, you get to put a second stress on them from the gunner attack. So now what you're doing is you're putting your opponent in the situation of deciding, do I want to take damage and receive stress from the R3A2, or do I want to get rid of all of my focus tokens, my evade tokens, and put myself in a situation where I'm going to be guaranteed to get 2 stress, and that second attack might even be worse than the damage I would receive from the first attack. So R3A2 and gunner is just a really cool combination that you can run to really put your opponent into some sticky situations. And when I get to the end of this video, I will talk about why this list was so successful and part of it was entirely because of the way the meta is right now and how just powerful R3A2 Gunner is. The final card on the ARC 170 is the Alliance Overhaul, and this is pretty much just a mandatory title. It costs 0, and so there's 0 downside to playing this card on your ship. And basically what it says is, when attacking with a primary weapon from your primary firing arc, you may roll 1 additional attack die, and then secondly, when attacking from your auxiliary firing arc, you may change one of your focus results to a crit result. So the cool thing about the ARC 170 is it's a small ship that has a primary firing arc. It also has a auxiliary firing arc very similar to the fire spray, so it allows you to fire from the back. So what that means is when you have the Alliance Overhaul, it changes your attack rating to a 3, and then when you are attacking someone from your auxiliary firing arc, you can spend a focus token to, or you can change a focus die result to a critical hit result. All right, coming up next is, I think, the glue that holds the Rebels together, and that is Biggs Darklighter. This is kind of the ship that, if it didn't exist, I think Rebels would have a very hard time placing in the top 16s of basically any tournament out there. And the reason why is because one of the things about Rebels is they're very squishy ships, and so Biggs allows you to mitigate that by focusing your opponents to target him and allow you to have your more offensive-oriented, squishy ships to guarantee to survive past the early rounds of the game. And how Biggs does that is his ability. Other friendly ships at range 1 cannot be targeted by attacks if the attacker could target you instead. So as long as you are flying close to Biggs, if they could attack any of your ships and Biggs is within range 1 of you and they could also attack Biggs, they must attack Biggs instead of any of your ships. And Biggs is basically I think the secret reason why Biggs is so good is he also is just a standard X-Wing stats. He's got 3 attack, 2 agility, 3 hull, 2 shield. He has a proton torpedo upgrade and an astromech upgrade. So, you know, Biggs, I think a lot of people forget that Biggs can, and if you pilot him well, should be able to roll 3 attack dice every single opportunity he gets. I see all the times people flying Biggs and, you know, just using him to kind of block and defend, but if you are getting 3 dice or, you know, within range 1, 4 dice with Biggs, now you're turning a ship that people have to fire upon into a ship that's also defending every other ship you own and, you know, throwing 3 or 4 dice on your opponents. And how we guarantee extra survivability with Biggs is with the astromech R4D6, and what it says is when you are hit by an attack and there are at least 3 uncanceled hit results, you may choose and cancel those results until there are 2 remaining, and then for each result canceled this way, receive 1 stress token. And why this is so good as opposed to just the R2D2 or the, you know, upgrade your shield ones is there's a lot of torpedoes going around, especially in the scum, that just, you know, roll 4 or 5 dice and, you know, basically with the amount of, you know, tokens that the, you know, scum is able to use, just, you know, throwing 5 torpedo dice at you and trying to just kill you in one swing. And R4D6 basically says, no. What's going to happen is if you roll 5 hits on me, I'm going to take 2 of those hits. I'm going to cancel 3 and take 3 stresses instead. So now you are turning the jump masters, you're making them spend their torpedo attack on Biggs, not killing him and having him stick around for an additional 2 or even 3 turns after the torpedo hit that would normally, you know, target down your most powerful ship and kill him. And then the second thing is this is just a modification that is kind of standard when you play any X-Wing that is integrated astromech. And what this does is it's a free hull And how you do that is when you would take a hit, you would just say, I'm going to jettison my astromech and cancel that hit result. So when you are down to, you know, all of your shields are gone and you're, you know, just have like 1 or 2 hull left, this is a great way to just cancel a critical result. And so basically this is just 0 as long as you are playing any astromech, you have, you know, 1 additional hull on your ship. All right, the third ship we're going to be featuring is the X-Wing from the Wave 10, and this is the Sabine's tie, and we are going to be playing Captain Rex. And Captain Rex's ability is after you perform attack, assign the suppressive fire condition card to your defender. This is a standard TIE fighter. It has 2 attack, 3 agility, 3 hull, 0 shield with a focus, barrel roll, and evade action. And why this list runs Captain Rex is because of the suppressive fire condition that it grants to somebody you attack. And what that says is, when attacking a ship other than Captain Rex, roll 1 fewer attack die. When you declare an attack targeting Captain Rex, or when Captain Rex is destroyed, remove this card. And then at the end of the combat phase, if Captain Rex did not perform an attack this phase, remove this card. So what does this mean? It means as long as Biggs is flying next to Captain Rex, you fire on a ship, you give them the suppressive fire, which says they roll 1 fewer attack die. And how this is so cool is enemy ships have to target Biggs instead of Captain Rex. So you are putting a suppressive fire on your opponent, making them roll 1 fewer attack die, but they cannot attack Rex to get rid of this suppressive fire. They have to target down Biggs. So, you know, if you think about it, you know, you fight against, you know, the Jump Masters, and now they're only rolling 1 dice against you instead of 2, and, you know, basically any kind of, you know, focus token results that you put on Biggs will basically allow them to just, you know, live for almost indefinitely. So after you get, you know, survive that initial wave of, you know, the torpedoes, suppressive fire is just a amazing ability for only 14 points on a ship that also, like I said, you know, has, you know, just 2 attack dice. The final ship that we're going to be featuring is Jess Pava in the T-70 X-Wing. And Jess Pava has 3 attack dice, 2 agility, 3 hull, 3 shield. Its actions are focus, target lock, and boost. And Jess's ability is, when attacking or defending, you may reroll 1 of your dice for each other friendly ship at range 1. So you'll be noticing a theme here, and that theme is keeping it nice and tight. So this is a rebel ship list that wants to have all of its pilots, you know, flying very close to each other and utilizing just great synergy. So you have Biggs flying in the back, and you have everybody kind of, you know, right in front of him, and all of these pilots are using abilities that are making it harder for your opponent to take actions and to, you know, do red maneuvers to get out of the way because you're putting double stress on them. Everybody has to focus their fire on Biggs. And then Captain Rex is making your opponent roll 1 fewer dice when they are attacking Biggs. And then Jess's ability is, as long as you're flying nice and close to each other, you get to re-roll dice for each friendly ship that you have at range 1. And of course, you want to be doing that because you want to be utilizing all their abilities. So Jess's ability is kind of the equivalent of, as long as you have a couple of ships within range 1 of you, you have a free target lock that you can just use as its natural ability. Alright, let's go on to the upgrades that we have on Jess. The first one is R2D6, and it is a 1-point astromech that says add a elite pilot talent to your down here. And the elite pilot talent that I am featuring that is different from the list that Gerry Russell ran is Draw Their Fire. And what Draw Their Fire is when a friendly ship at range 1 is hit by an attack, you may suffer one of the uncancelled critical results instead of the target ship. So this is basically just a way to extend the life of Biggs even further. So if, for whatever reason, Biggs is down to the very end, and your opponent is able to get a, one last critical on him that would kill him, Jess is going to say, no, I'm going to take that critical from him instead. And the great thing about taking uncanceled crits is R4D6's ability does not cancel critical results. It only cancels the hit results. So this is just a great way to extend the life of Biggs, one step further. And because Jess Pava has 3 shields, you can basically take critical results and just, I'll kind of just extend the life of Biggs for, 3 turns here and there. The second card that I'm going to be featuring is the Primed Thrusters, and this says stress tokens do not prevent you from performing boost or barrel roll actions unless you have 3 or more stresses. This is basically just, I had 1 point left remaining, and so I wanted to give just, one additional ability, and because this is a list that does not really particularly care about having the initiative, because if all of the pilots are 3, 5, 4, 3, I'm not trying to gain the initiative with a list that has elite high skill value pilots. So it's more important to have a list that it can get all the points available out of a 100-point list than going as low as you can to try to get the initiative. And then finally, I have the integrated astromech slot on Jess, which allows me to, again, for 0 points, just as long as I have R2D6 on, have 4 hull. So that is the list. So why was this list so successful at Worlds? And basically, you can sum it down to 2 words: Atani Mindlink. If you look at the lists that did very well, that came in first place, Atani Mindlink was everywhere. And what Atani Mindlink says is, it's a ability that you can put on scum ships. It says when you would put a focus token on this ship or a stress token on this ship, put it on every other ship that has Atani Mindlink on it. So what it does is it allows you to play 3 ships that have Atani Mindlink. 1 ship can take a focus action, grant 3 focuses to all of the other ships that have Atani Mindlink. It also has the downside of, if this ship would take a stress, give stress to everybody. So what you do with Braylon is, now you attack any of the ships that have Atani Mindlink on them, you give them a stress from R3A2, and then you get to give them a second stress if you attack them again with Gunner. So now you're putting 1, potentially 2 stresses on every ship that shares Atani Mindlink. So now, instead of just having to pick 1 single ship that you're going to be stress hogging, you can essentially take their entire pilot list and give them stresses. So now, if you have a good understanding of the movement dials of the ships that your opponents are running, if they want to be able to take actions the next turn, you can kind of guarantee where they're going to be, because you know what the green maneuvers they have to use to get somewhere. And most ships only have a couple of green maneuvers in the 1 or in the 2 movement dials. So you can kind of know where your opponent's going to go. They also can't really take actions because sometimes they might have 2 stress tokens on them. So it's just a really great way to maximize the sort of metagame, which has been completely taken over by Atani Mindlink. As you have noticed how I said this list is weak, it is weak because you basically never get to attack first and you have to move first. So this list is weak when you are able to have your opponent force your ships to get out of formation, because for whatever reason, and now you have Biggs sort of off on its own, kind of away from Captain Rex, or you have Jess Pava maybe 2 away from a couple of people, so now it doesn't really get to use its ability. Maybe Braylon Stramm, the ARC 170 doesn't have the greatest movement dial, so obviously there's really no getting around the fact that you have to tag Biggs first, but I think the best way to attack this is to play a lot of arc dodgers and to potentially get in a situation where you are flanking bigs from the back end, and then kind of, you know, forcing your opponent or forcing this list to make a lot of red maneuvers to re-engage you, which puts bigs in the front instead of the back of the formation. All right, so that is the first of my Star Wars X-Wing videos. I really hope you enjoyed this. It went a little bit longer. In the future, I'm gonna try to, you know, keep it a little bit tighter, but this is just a list that is so fun to talk about. I have played it once. It is a blast to play. One of the things I always tell my friends or anybody that plays Star Wars X-Wing miniatures is to not get so overwhelmed by the fact that, you know, one particular faction isn't doing so well in the metagame. There's a real big difference between taking a list to Worlds or to the best of the best. When you play against your friends at a local bookstore or a comic book store, everybody is making mistakes left and right, and it is very easy to get completely overwhelmed by the fact that, oh, my favorite ships are not doing, you know, 100% in the metagame. I would say, you know, don't be, you know, discouraged to play, you know, like this list, a unique, wacky Rebels list. Don't be discouraged to, you know, play a unique, wacky Imperial list, because like I said, there's a big difference between going to Worlds and having to play against the likes of the Paul Heavers of the world, and, you know, going to your local store where, you know, you maybe play once or twice a month and you can really just sort of have fun. So that's going to be something I'm going to be really trying to emphasize, is to play some wacky lists, to, you know, play some really fun lists, to, you know, really brew up some things with some pilots and ships that haven't gotten much love. And, you know, that is really what inspired me to sort of have this be the first list. Is I don't think I've ever seen an ARC 170 at a Worlds. You know, the TIE Fighter on the Rebel side at Worlds. We have Jess Pava. So thanks for watching this video. If there are any lists or any things that you have seen out in the internet that you would like me to feature, feel free to comment below, and keep in touch and keep in tune. I will try to be doing one of these at least once a week. Sometimes I might be able to get to do a couple of them a week, but this is going to be something that I'm going to be, I wouldn't say focusing on more than Magic the Gathering, but it's something that I think I will be able to do a little bit more consistently than Magic the Gathering. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if this is something you enjoy. And if there were any things that you think could improve upon, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching. Bye.